Hey guys, we're here looking at question 5 of our probability quiz. So let's have a look. We have a Venn diagram showing information about 120 students in the school. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do in my universal set here, I know I've got 120. So the total of all these areas in our Venn diagram here has to add up to 120. Alright, of these we have 40 studying Chinese. So in this circle here we know we need to get a total of 40. 35 study Japanese, so within this circle here we know we need a total of 35, and 30 study Spanish. So I know that in this circle here I will have a total of 30. Before we even look at the questions, one of the first things we need to do with the Venn diagram is go and have a look at all the areas currently that we don't have, and let's figure out what those numbers should be. And then it'll make any question we're asked about this Venn diagram a lot easier. So let's have a look here. We've got blank area here. This is all the Chinese speakers. So we know we've got 40. So we need to take 8, 5 and 4 away from 40 and we're left with 23. So we've got 23 Chinese speakers only in this little part. Let's go over to the Japanese speakers here. We know we need a total of 35. I've already got 8, 5 and 7. So when we take those away from 35, we're left with 15. And we've got 30 studying studying Spanish. So I have to take 4, 5 and 7 away from 30 and I'm left with 14. There's only one more area I'm looking at here, and that's the area outside the 3 circles. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. We need to add those up and then take those away from our 120 to get what we're left with out here. And if I'm right there, we end up with 44. So let's add that out there. Alright, now we've got a completed Venn diagram. Let's go and have a look at some of the questions. Find the probability that the student studies exactly 2 of these languages. Well, exactly 2, we're looking here, here and here. So these 8 students here study Japanese and Chinese but not Spanish. These 7 here are studying Japanese and Spanish but not Chinese. And these 4 here are studying Chinese and Spanish but not Japanese. So let's have a look at that. To do these ones we've got to add up 8 plus 7 plus 4, and that's over our sample space out of our 120 kids. And we end up with 19 over 120 for our first one. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Studies only Japanese. Well, since we've already gone and completed our Venn diagram, our only Japanese is this one here. Okay, they're studying Japanese but not Chinese and not Spanish. So we've got 15 out of 120 there. And find the probability that the student does not study any of the 3 languages. I think you'd be pretty happy to see that not studying any of the languages is outside all 3 of these circles here. So we've got 44 there. So does not study any of these languages. We've got 44 out of a total of 120. Now if we just talk about our mark schemes here. For A, it's just one answer. We've got a 1 mark for that. For 5B, we have a method mark for knowing to add up those values, and of course we get an answer mark for our 15 over 120. And for C, we get an answer mark for knowing to subtract 120 minus the number studying. So for taking all those away, so a method mark for that. We get an answer mark for knowing that that's 76, and a 1 for knowing that that is 76, and then an answer mark, of course, for getting 44 out of 120 there. Okay, we'll move on to number 6 now. Okay guys, got number 6, another Venn diagram question. So let's have a look. We've got a Venn diagram. Obviously you can see they've set it up for you. We have intersecting sets of A and B. Alright, we know NU, which is the number in our universal set, is 36. So the first thing I'm going to do is put that up here. I know that everything within my rectangle here has to add up to 36, and I can use that as a checkpoint as we go. Alright, I know that the number in set A has to be 11. Let's have a look here. In here, we know we've got to have 11. And in B, we know we've got to have 6. The number in set B altogether is 6. And we know that the number in A union B complement is 21. So the first thing I'm going to think of, what does this look like? Because this is not a direct thing that we can put on here. Well, of course, A union B, let's just have a look at what A union B is. Here's our A union B. A union B means we can be in either A or B or both. And we want the complement of that, so everything not in this shape here. So of course, on the outside there, we have got 21. So what does that tell us then? We now know that in here, we've got to have a total of 36 minus 21. So we know we've got to have 15. So let's write that down. We know the number in A union B is equal to 15. That's going to be another useful tool for us as well. Alright, before we go down and have a look at these, once again, like before, it's always good to go and set up your Venn diagram. So let's go and figure out what else we know. Alright, first thing we're going to do, just write down what we've got. N of A is equal to 11. N of B is equal to 6. What you'll notice here is that 11 plus 6 does not equal 15. Okay, so if we have a look at the number in A union B, does that equal the number in A plus the number in B? Well, let's try that. Number in A union B, as we figured out before, is 15. So we got 15. The number in A is 11, so we got 11 plus 6 here. Obviously, we've got 17 minus 15. That tells us that we have non-mutually exclusive sets. So I've got to come back up here, recognize that, and we've got to subtract the number in A and B. So minus the number in A and B. So if I come back over here, 15 is equal to 17, take away what? So straight away I now know that the number in A intersection B is equal to 2. So I'm going to put that on my Venn diagram. I've got 2 in the intersection there. Okay, now we can come back and use some of these other things we've got. We know that we have a total of 11 in here. So in this part only we've got 11 minus 2, we will have a total of 9. Over in set B, we know we've got a total of 6. I've already got 2 in the intersection, so I'll have 6 minus 2, and we will have 4 there. Now, how do we check that that's right? We've got 9, 2, and 4, and we know that A union B is equal to 15, so let's just check. 9 and 2 is 11, 11, 4, 15. So we know these numbers make sense to us so far. Okay. Now let's go and have a little look at what we've got here. We want the number in A intersection B. Well, since you've set your Venn diagram up, that's pretty straightforward. We have got 2, and that is 1 mark there for you. Now we want the probability of A intersection B. Well, we have 2 out of a total of 36, so we've got 2 out of 36, or of course 1 out of 18, and we get an A1 mark for that. Alright, and our last question, explain why events A and B are not mutually exclusive. Well, there's a couple of things that you could say here to get your reasoning mark. You could either say that the number in A intersection B is not equal to 0, since we found A intersection B over here was equal to 2, or another option for you is also, we could say that the probability of A union B is not equal to the probability of A plus probability of B. We knew that that was 15. We knew that probability of A plus probability of B added up to 17. Since they're not equal, we know that they're not mutually exclusive.